A lot has happened inside of the world of Apex Legends esports in the last couple of days. And of course, we're here to unpack and dive into what has been going on, from people retiring, moving on, announcing organizations leaving, and what's going on with the results of Pro League and the CEO, ImperialHal, showing signs of weakness. What's happening with all of the news inside of ALGS? Let's dive into it and talk about it right now. Nickmercs has retired from competitive Apex Legends, so reports Jake Lucky. No surprise here. I think obviously you saw the video from Nick, but I think it's really no surprise just because the state of Apex is obviously just different. When Nick first came years ago, the state of Apex then had a little bit more hype, I think, around his presence. The idea that he was stepping totally out of his realm into something new, into something different. People got behind him. That momentum was huge. When he left and came back, the momentum is just simply different. And I'm not saying it was necessarily bad, but I just don't think people cared as much as they did before. And also the competition continuously changes as the metas change. And I think he got it in a really good time. He was in a meta that really supported his play style, I think, personally. I think Nick, honestly, Nick is just a competitor. Anything that he just able to put 8 hours a day into, you're probably going to be good at. And there's just so many things going on with Nick. If you watch his YouTube channel and you see what he's up to, I don't think Apex competitive is really. I mean, I think he tried, obviously. I think he put a good foot forward. There's just so many other things that are probably a little bit more interesting for not only him, but I think a lot of people are kind of going that route. And you'll see more of that in just a bit. But for what it's worth, and people can talk about the drama and whatnot, I feel like even the drama is a good thing, because the heel of any entertainment sport out there, WWE, UFC, esports, you name it, okay, it makes you come back and watch. You want to see him lose, or either you support him and you want to see him win. So say what you will. I thought his presence in the scene was really good for the esports side of things. And of course, anytime you lose someone that big, it plays some part into the game's future. Interested to see what you guys think. Also, a big one of the organizations that I felt like was big and really, really built themselves around this guy right here, Monsoon. Complexity comes out to say Complexity entered Apex Esports in 2019 at the very beginning, long before the scene became what it is today. We've had the pleasure of bringing on players like Monsoon, Kimchi. Honestly, I feel like Monsoon, Kimchi, and Lou are probably the biggest staples of it at this point. There were a lot of people, obviously, back in the early days, and if you were around then, you probably would still resonate with that. But, Monsoon, Kimchi, and Lou were on there for a bit, especially Monsoon and Kimchi. Because Kimchi obviously coaching, but then comes to play as well. Decent results, honestly, in the last 2 years from them. Not too bad. I think a lot of people probably kind of saw, especially after the whole friendship stuff that Snipedown was throwing around years ago. I think they outperformed many people's expectations. They also said we've signed streamers and content creators who represent an incredible community, and with them we've highlighted Apex in our content partnerships over the years. As far as competitive success, we've reached the highs and endured the lows. We've attended championships, most recently placing 6th in Japan, from ALGS to BLGS, from Face It Pro Series to BFC to Oversight and Series E. We've been here to welcome every new legend and embrace each new meta shift. Really crazy how long they have been here. Today, we're saddened to announce our exit from Apex Legends, and we'll be keeping a watchful eye on the scene. But for now, a great chapter in our history comes to an end. Thanks for the fans and your support in the last 6 years. Doesn't stop there, because Shira also coming out to thank G-Dolphin for the help, because he says, in principle, we end the year with him. And as for me, whoever has already heard what I said on stream, it's the end of the line. I gave it my all, especially these 5 months. And as much as I think I deserved more this year, I'm tired, and I think it's time to accept the hint that life is giving me. 1 year and a half almost, my current situation, and I can only blame myself. Don't feel sorry or whatever. I'm healthy. I have my savings. I lived the life I dreamed of for 5 years, but the work and reward is already getting ridiculous. This might be the hothead of the worst match days I've had ever at Apex. Obviously some translation errors here, and probably a little bit of myself being stupid, but he said, I tried a lot. I fought a lot. I've invested more than I should have, but the choices were constantly sideways. The decisions on the server always ended up lacking something extra, and the almost once, twice, 3 times, it gets to a point where it's just not that bad of luck. I'm not basically making the expectations I have for myself, he says. Thanks for the support. See you in the next few weeks. And the guy will keep trying until the end. When it's over, and life goes on. Much love. So not an accurate translation completely. Obviously, maybe some of you can do a little bit better. Dolphin goes on to here to say, you have more to give. Don't be so defeated just yet. And you can see a lot of support here saying, bro, please, just keep playing the game, or, you've been a legend. You've done so much. A lot of people seem to, maybe some of these OGs seem to be hanging it up. Speaking of people hanging it up, you guys saw that John Nelson basically had, parted ways with ALGS, and now also confirms last day at EA after 9 years. What a ride. So John Nelson, the guy that's been babying ALGS for so long, no longer there as well. Now, we've got some roster announcements as far as like orgs staying in, but just making some changes. You're going to have Mouse Esports in for EWC. Yeah, go figure. You're going to have a lot of big organizations from other games, people that aren't prominent in Apex very much. They're coming for Esports World Cup. That's really no surprise. We already know that conversation from so long. No talent or no surprise here with this roster. Also with Lufka and 0-0. These guys have been just slinging at it for years, and so we'll see obviously how they do. K-Swinney also with Tyler signing with Dragons. So Dragons are really I think the same case scenario. Like they're really big in this sense of they've got money. They've got some pockets, and they're ready to dig deep if needed to get some good talent. I think, honestly, people are sleeping on this roster. I'm a big fan of Tyler. You guys know I think Tyler's stock has always been pretty solid ever since the Alliance sub-ins, and I think this guy's got something to offer that many teams were not giving him the opportunity to offer, and we'll see how they do. Obviously, time will tell. I'm excited about this one probably the most, and that is Gen G. Gen G signing this former Makers roster. You guys know that Makers had just done so well in BLGS, so well in the last year or so. I feel like this team has really shined, especially you guys saw at the ALGS Open. I was really kind of praising how much Green Stego was keeping themselves relevant. Like even in situations where you would see a lobby and you immediately think Alliance, you immediately think Falcons, Green Stego's keeping themselves inside the bubble of relevancy and also winning a lot. So I felt like this roster was a very good signing. This team has a serious chance, and a lot of people don't consider them over like your big. It's hard not to give some favoritism to, I think, some of these big organizations or big content creators like the Falcons, like Alliance. But to be fair, Alliance has been so consistent for so long. I get it. But a roster like this also really underrated, I think, in a lot of people's minds. And more organization announcements continue as Envy were to drop their roster with Drop, Zap, and Talmadge. Of course, Skittle playing with this roster as well, saying today, we say goodbye to our Apex team. Thank you, Drop, Zap, and Talmadge. Proud to have started this new era with you. Wishing you all the best moving forward. You guys know Talmadge was a coach, of course. And then right after, you have All Gamers Global coming out to sign this roster with Zap, Skittles, Drop, and Talmadge as well for the Esports World Cup. Luminosity also made a pretty good announcement about a week ago saying welcome Nocturnal as he makes his LG Apex debut, and obviously joining Shuby and Stay Naughty. Pretty talented roster as well on paper. The question is, how long will a lot of these organizations stay after the World Cup is over? So, of course, you guys know this takes place during the summer, but we saw last year where a lot of these organizations came in and they didn't stay for too terribly long before they would eventually move on. Speaking of Luminosity, by the way, Monsoon has now been added to Luminosity as a coach with the removal of Android Dream. Now, this is no surprise because Monsoon basically put it out there. It made it well known that he wanted to stay in the Apex scene. He wanted to go to LANs. He wanted to be involved, but obviously was taking a new job and wanted to kind of take more of a coaching route. And so this is a very good opportunity for him on a very talented roster as well. So excited for that and to see how that develops. Now, when it comes to these results, you've got Group B versus C just days ago, May 31st for the EMEA region, and no surprise, Alliance here dominating as per usual with a 23-point lead here from second place. I mean, come on, give them their flowers. It's been enough. I mean, these guys really deserve 3 times as much flowers, I think, because I think they have probably a top 2, if not number 1, most raw firepower of any roster inside the ALGS, period. Possibly of all time. Forbidden also, you guys know we just talked about this roster being signed to Mouse Esports, but a very talented one to say the least. And Lufka 0-0 kind of doing what they do. But you'll know that these young guns are now the fraggers because, just these new guys, I swear, 17 and younger, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, they're dropping the big numbers these days. You're not really seeing too many people drop as, look at Unlucky's numbers compared to Effect. And, Effect is still dropping big numbers, but Hackett has always played this role. No surprise here. But, I mean, these younger guys, boy, they really are just going insane these days with just complete fragger rolls. SJP2 also top 3 here with Denze and Co. Kind of even, but no surprise. Also love to see Max Strafe still up here in the conversation in the top 5. Maybe some, underlying performances that weren't necessarily too great, but, 9th place here for Aurora, 9 Impulse, obviously, big name, household name. After their historic roster change that I don't think many people were too excited for, it is what it is. Here's where they are, and things are still trucking along somewhat moderately, but we'll keep an eye on it and obviously keep you up to date with further results. FaZe Clan in 11th here. Probably not what many people were hoping to see as well. And Gaming Gladiators, this is the one I'm probably most upset about. Man, Funk, obviously Funk is doing Funk things. He's, not playing bad by no means, but Gaming Gladiators as a team, not getting the results that I think they were hoping for. And obviously as fans, probably were hoping for a little bit better as well. Now, let's also consider the EMEA region day 2 on the access, or on June 1st. And so, once again, Alliance, no surprise here. First place, dominating with a 10-point lead on this one. Just really big day again. And you'll notice, Unlucky and Effect, again, doing their roles like perfectly. And honestly, give flowers to Hackus here because, yeah, he's not shining in crazy stat numbers, but he's doing what Hackus does. He is leading the team to where they need to be. And, it really just goes to show, like, the separation of the talent between these rosters is kind of crazy because you'll see, like, these guys come out of challengers and they're really, really good. And to watch them struggle or watch a pro team just run circles around them is pretty remarkable sometimes. You got Nephilim in 2nd, Navi in 3rd, Go Next in 4th, Onyx in 5th, FaZe Clan, a little bit better performance here in 6th. Navi, though, I feel like they've been really, hats off to them as well. Go Next also, they have a lot of pressure trying to keep up with the status quo of last year, winning the World Championship. Team War also, we've talked about, newer team trying to show some presence in from the Call of Duty scene. And then also Cybercats here in 11th, and Ronin probably won a little bit better results here. But I still think that Ronin has got something going. Just like give them some more time, and obviously I think they've got something going there. 18th also Max Strafe, so kind of a little bit of a flip-flop from what you would see the day before. Forbidden, kind of same story. Gaming Gladiators, though, you'll see this consistency of just not good, man. Not really what we were hoping for, and I know they were hoping for much better as well. Just simply not getting that, unfortunately. But now, let's dive into North American scene. On May 31st, Group B versus Group C, you had Shopify Rebellion in 1st place, Furia in 2nd, Sentinels in 3rd, NIP in 4th, DSZ in 5th, Virtus Pro in 6th, Leave No Witness in 7th, NRG, Team Orchid in 9th, Omit in 10th, Most Loved in 11th, Citadel Gaming, CTE, Fusion, 100 Thieves, Corinthians in 16th, LG Villains, and Unleash. Obviously, a little bit of an underwhelming performance here for 100 Thieves, especially with the generational talent that they have over there. And then also, I think a pretty good hats off to Furia. I think Furia has been under so many weird, they've always been a team that can do well in scrims, that can do well when it doesn't matter. And I know that sounds like an insult, but they are consistently well. Don't get me wrong, Pro League matters, but it's not necessarily finals. It's not LAN. And it's they never get that crazy big lock, win, dub, championship, whatever. But this team has so much potential, man. They consistently prove themselves to be relevant inside of Pro League, inside of scrims. I'm waiting. I feel like we're all waiting. It's like a ticking time bomb. When will they win a LAN? When will they win a finals? Sentinels also, I feel like this roster has been on the come up for so long. They've been working for this for so long. To see a top 3 finish, I know it was probably a little bit rewarding for them. And then Shopify Rebellion should be no surprise, right? Former Moist Esports roster. These guys have been good and relevant for a very long time. Then you move over into day 2. This is literally just last night, 2 nights ago, from the time that you're watching this. And you've got Villains here in 1st, and this is kind of a surprise because this roster is by no means some powerhouse everybody is just afraid of. I remember 3 years ago, if anybody from South America got 1st place in a North American Pro League, it was historic. But now you're watching these guys really like be so relevant now because they've had the opportunity to play with competition that brings their skill level up. So now you've got 2 guys from North America on the southern side, obviously, and then you've also got a guy from South America, from Colombia, and, you know, just literally lights out. We saw this actually, Geared Gaming, you know, a couple lands back, where they're winning some of these group stages now, and they were showing themselves at LAN that they are not at, you know, they're not behind anymore like they were at like 5 years ago, 4 years ago. There was a time when literally they couldn't even compete at LAN. They were just getting slammed. And that story is just long gone. So I'm happy to see that. KOI here in second with Blinkster, Fun, and Jelly. I think that's a good roster. I've been waiting for them to kind of pop off. NRG here in third. DSZ here in fourth with Skittle Cakes, dropped Zap. No longer going to be a DSZ. Obviously, we just talked about their new roster. Moving on to All Gamers Global. And you've also got CTE in fifth, Flat in sixth, Falcons in seventh. Tied for sixth, technically, but down here in seventh. And then, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously not the Falcons' dominant style performance, but you can't win everything. And we'll talk more about some of the, you know, the aftermath after this. Twisted Minds in 8th, Unleash in 9th, ROC in 10th. Still kind of waiting for this roster to have their moment. I feel like they're so good on paper, but we're not getting those results. Sentinels in 11th, Furia, 100 Thieves once again, not kind of shining out, but neither are some of these other teams like Shopify Rebellion, Team Orchid, Liquid Alienware, TSM, Forbidden Gaming, Sim JMeyels, and Board as well. I'm kind of wondering what's going on with TSM as well. I'm waiting for this roster to maybe pop off, but, you know, it's still early on in Pro League. Still got a little bit more time, but, you know, I'm really expecting Panic to do big things. And so this is kind of a weird result because you've got so many good teams down low and then so many unexpected teams here up high. But then you would see, like, Hal come out afterwards and just say, I don't even know anymore. Like, what? Like, how? Come on. Like, a 7th place finish, and everybody's in the comments like, bro, look at what you've done. Look at all these trophies. Look at the earnings. Over $1 million in earnings. So many golds. So many podium finishes. And he just says you can't live in the past. Like, you know, and even some of the casters, you'll turn it around. You always do. You got to lock in. But, I mean, come on. They just won the recent LAN. I don't even know what's going on here. It's got to be some bait going on because this guy has done so much, and even as of recent, not doing bad. I don't even understand. But obviously, time will tell. Is this the downfall? I highly, highly doubt that this is the downfall of ImperialHal or the Falcons. But of course, things can change, and you're not going to keep that same championship team forever. Eventually, roster changes are necessary, but, I mean, come on, man. We're talking about just winning the recent LAN. We are way too early to this conversation. But a little bit of bait on the timeline probably. Interested to see what you guys have to say down in the comments below. A little bit more of a lengthy video. Like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all things inside of the world of ALGS. And until the next time, we'll see you all later.